This is the download from Sounds Profitable, your daily source for the essential news of the business of podcasting, brought to you by Spreaker from iHeart. I'm Gavin Gaddis. Here's what you need to know for today, Wednesday, October 2nd. Before I get into the main stories, real quick, if you've not been keeping tabs on the job board section at the bottom of the newsletter version of the download, we keep 5 of the latest submitted jobs on there, and our job board has gotten an influx of new positions lately, so we're doing a supersized version on today's issue, so there's 10 new postings featured. So if you get the download to your email inbox, go check that out. If you don't, go to soundsprofitable.com, go to our job board. Tons of stuff up right now. Anyway, let's talk about stories. First up, podcasting is coming to Advertising Week. Advertising Week New York kicks off Monday, October 7th, and this year features a new batch of podcasting-related panels and talks in and around the podcast zone dedicated to the industry, first of its kind at Advertising Week. On Thursday, the 10th, Tom Webster will be giving a presentation of data from the podcast landscape, focusing on the evolution of podcasts' audience over time. Also on Thursday, the Power of Family podcasts, unlocking untapped potential for advertisers. That brings together CEOs of Atomic Entertainment Group, Story Pirates, Starglow Media, and Realm to talk about the unique advantages of advertising on kids and family podcasts. Outside of Advertising Week proper, YMH Studios, in collaboration with Red Circle, Podscribe, and Sounds Profitable, have teamed up to take over the New York Comedy Club for an exclusive evening of networking and comedy from podcasting stars. There is a form link in the newsletter version to submit for consideration. I recommend filling out that form as soon as possible, as space is extremely limited. Next up, Libsyn unveils September 2024 podcast advertising rates. The latest monthly average of CPM, that's cost per 1,000 impressions, for a 60-second podcast ad on Libsyn ads was $21.37 for September. Up a penny from the month prior and down $1.37 from September of 2023. The top 3 categories as far as CPM are concerned is government at $31, technology at $29, and health and fitness at $24. Libsyn ads also points to kids and family, sports, and history being 3 categories with highly engaged audiences and more accessible CPM rates ranging from the high teens to low 20s. Feel like a weatherman. Next up, Rajar Midas Report, Summer 2024. This is from Adam Bowie looking at the UK research firm Rajar's summer edition of the Midas Report they do on audio in the UK. Audio-type listening trends show podcasts have a relatively steady increase in weekly reach percentage from 14% in the spring of 2019 to 23% this summer. The Midas survey has begun including questions regarding listeners' need states when listening to different kinds of audio. While live radio scores highly in almost every need, podcasting has a strong bias towards broadening my horizons well beyond any other form of radio or on-demand music. Next up, your next podcast interview might actually be a meeting in disguise. Ashley Carman of Bloomberg writes of a not often discussed facet for entrepreneurs who host interview podcasts. The appeal of a podcast interview can get them FaceTime with people they might not otherwise have been able to secure a meeting with. In a way, an advanced form of networking. Jeff Umbro of the Podglomerate recalls a software firm who invited representatives of a potential client company onto their show to build rapport that would potentially lead to formal pitches later. Harry Morton of Lower Street tells Bloomberg branded podcasts are creating valuable content for niche listeners, but in the context of business development, the audience is almost secondary to the value of getting ideal clients in the room to talk for an hour or so. Next up, readers are flocking to political news, says Washington Post, and advertisers are missing out. According to Madison & Wall's 2024 ad spend forecast, 83% of U.S. marketing executives have concerns about advertising their brands during elections. As a result, publications like the Washington Post, as told by VP of Revenue Operations and Data Jana Marone at Programmatic.io this week, 40% of Washington Post's inventory has been blocked over safety concerns. As a result, the Washington Post's VP of Revenue and Operations Data, Jana Marone, told Programmatic.io attendees that 40% of the Washington Post inventory has been blocked over brand safety concerns. Marone proposes being gun-shy of news and politics, specifically during an election season, is leading to advertisers missing out on profit during a season when publishers like the Washington Post pull in their biggest numbers. She points to YouGov.org's top 5 reasons why U.S. consumers boycott brands and highlights the fact that those top 5 do not include news, advertising, or brands advertising on news. And similarly to how studies have shown podcast audiences have a halo effect for brands that make their favorite content possible, other research, like the IAB 2020 News Trust Halo, find 84% of respondents have a positive impression of brands running ads on trusted news outlets. As for the rest of the news, the Signal Awards finalists for 2024 Listener's Choice Award are now live and open for voting. Lower Street is launching a bespoke podcast production service designed for industry leaders called Authority. Kaylee Barber for Digiday explores how Axios scored big by pitching to niche audiences. Sounds a little podcasty to me. And media newsletter Owl & Co. breaks down the current state of the streaming wars. Be sure to check out the links to every article mentioned right in your podcast listening app or at soundsprofitable.com, where you can also subscribe to the newsletter version. The download is written and produced by Newton Shuttlecotti, myself, Brian Barletta, and Tom Webster. This episode is hosted on Spreaker. For Sounds Profitable, I'm Gavin Gaddis. Download us again tomorrow.